Jennifer Northway. I think she's going to be a little late. We'll wait on her. And Ram. Here. Kara.
Here.
And Paula
Where's she here?
is here. I saw her. We've all seen her with her baby. Diaper duty. Okay. All right, there you go.
Okay, thank you.
Definitely have a quorum.
We have minutes from the workday meeting, and I would, they were sent to the committee earlier in the week. They're on the table right now. I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the workday meeting, which was held in Houston on January 27th.
I so do. I make a motion that the meeting
Okay.
be approved.
We got a second from Kara. Discussion?
Okay. 1 second.
Okay, hearing no discussion. All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Next on the agenda is committee liaison reports. And I had asked Robin Garza or Courtney Edwards to speak on behalf of TTAF. Unfortunately, neither one of those people could be here today. And I haven't seen Brenda Putz. I don't know if she's in the room or not. So if Brenda comes in or Dinah, we'll ask them to give us an update on TTAF. Kara, you want to brief us on Texas Trauma Coordinators Forum meeting?
Sure. Yesterday we had 24 attendees at our meeting. We are working on distributing the ELF project, ELF program, which is Everyone Listening Falls. It is not evidence-based, but it's a program that we feel is strong and effective.
Sorry. TTCF is working on distributing the ELF program, which means Everyone Listening Falls. It's currently being printed right now, and we're going to distribute that to injury prevention coordinators as soon as it gets printed. We also talked about the spectrum of injury prevention within that, and we basically discussed what each injury prevention coordinator is doing at their facility. We gave an example of the Pay Attention East Texas, which is a coalition that fosters coalitions and networks and talks about distracted driving. And we just basically talked about what each injury prevention coordinator is doing for injury prevention efforts. And we made sure that everyone knew about the TCAR and PCAR programs that are available. I didn't go into detail about where those are going to be, but they're all over East Texas. It's a great program, and we encouraged everyone who could attend to attend that. And we also discussed the Texas Injury and Violence Prevention Conference, which we'll discuss more in a little bit.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the audience for Kara? Okay, hearing none, we will move on. Going to give a brief update of the workday meeting that the Injury Prevention Committee held in Houston on January the 27th. GETAC, this committee has been talking about strategic planning for several years now. And I know that we've also had conversations with the TTAF Injury Prevention Committee as well as the Texas Trauma Coordinators Forum. And there's been discussions about trying to coordinate some strategic planning efforts. Just as a background, GETAC has, now that Kara is on GETAC, we have a natural link to TTCF. And we're continuing to work with TTAF regarding strategic planning. There have been several recommendations from groups that there needs to be some type of strategic planning around injury and violence prevention efforts in Texas. In 2008, the Safe States Alliance conducted a state technical assessment team visit to Texas at the request of the Texas Department of Health Injury Program, and had several recommendations also that included a need for strategic planning around injury and violence prevention efforts. So the GETAC Injury Prevention Committee met in, and let's see if this is going to work. Okay, Kara, you may have to go and let's try that one. Okay, we'll do it manually. Anyway, at our workday meeting on January the 27th, we discussed continuing the discussion regarding strategic planning. Really feeling like that it was necessary to provide some direction and be a resource for injury and violence prevention efforts in Texas. Go ahead. We talked about what an outline of a strategic plan needed to look like, and there was lots of discussion at the January 27th meeting, but waited until this meeting so that all committee members could be available and be able to have input. But basically, the group that met in Houston on January the 27th came up with this as a basic outline for the plan. Needed to include a vision, needs to include mission, wanted to provide some background information regarding past efforts in Texas, including also some injury and violence morbidity and mortality data. We also wanted to look at some of the accomplishments of some of the injury prevention efforts in Texas, not only from the GETAC Injury Prevention Committee, but other groups as well. And then thought that it obviously needed to include some goals and objectives, and then recommended activities or tasks to accomplish those goals and objectives. So this is the outline that we would like to put forth to the committee, and see if there's any discussion from other committee members regarding other things that needed to be included in the strategic plan. So I'm going to open it up. First comment from the committee members.
Well, I think it's a good start. I think it was a really productive meeting, the workday meeting. Sorry, thank you. I don't know if this is on. I think the workday meeting was very productive, and it's a really good start. It's a general outline that can be fleshed out further by the committee over several meetings in the future. We talked about looking at a 3-year time span for the strategic plan, and being sure to pace ourselves and structure the goals in such a way that we're being effective over those 3 years.
And thanks for reminding me about that, Juliet. We discussed whether or not this plan should be a 3-year plan or a 5-year plan, and I think it was pretty much the consensus of the group that 5 years is it's so far out it's hard to predict any changes that could happen, and that a 3-year plan was workable. Any comments from the audience regarding the outline? Okay. Kara, you want to move forward? I said to the group that met in Houston, I enjoy developing mission and vision statements about like I enjoy hearing fingernails on a chalkboard. So I was a little apprehensive about the idea or the thought of having to develop a vision and mission statement. I know it can get there can be a lot of wordsmithing. This actually came together pretty quickly. So this is what the work group in Houston suggests as a potential vision statement for the strategic plan. And again, I'm going to open it up for comments on from the committee. Can you go back to the vision statement? Kara, thanks.
I think
Pretty
what we were
simple.
trying to do is have the huge 10,000-foot look at what we want for Texas, and this kind of encompasses everything. Just an injury-free Texas is basically what we want. So that's why we chose something short, and we talked a lot about it. And, short and sweet and to the point, right?
Comments from the audience? Would you mind stepping up to the mic?
And introduce yourself.
Yes.
I guess I'll just do this. I'm Chris Cordier from Las Palmas Medical Center in El Paso. I'm the trauma coordinator. All these I guess this campaign, this safety campaign, is it going to be in Spanish too? Because I'm coming from El Paso, there's a large percentage of our population that only speaks Spanish.
And I probably wasn't clear. This is basically just at this point, it's not a campaign. It is, it's a strategic plan. So we're looking to develop a document with, that may include, as part of some of the activities, some type of an awareness campaign or things like that. This is just a document that more or less a planning document. I have no objections, nor do I think the committee has any objections for having it developed in Spanish. This is something that will be on the GETAC Injury Prevention website once it's completed, and our plan is to have it completed by the end of this year, and hopefully by the November meeting, have the group approve the strategic plan. But
Now, I don't know if you've gotten there yet, but are you going to detail the types of things, the types of injury prevention strategies?
we are.
Okay.
We are.
All right.
That's in future
Don't
planning.
want to put the cart in front
That's
of the horse.
okay.
Thanks.
Other questions or comments? Okay. Okay.
I was just going to say, I was not able to attend the strategic planning, but it's a very good start, and the 3-year plan, I think it's very workable, and to turn out programs that are workable as well as all hospitals. And as far as bilingual programs, I'll be glad to translate them.
Okay, thank you. And that reminds me, this is the objective of the workday meeting that was held on January 27th was literally to come up with an outline, come up with a vision and mission, come up with some suggested goals and objectives. So this is going to be, we anticipate this being a year-long process, and that as we move along at the next workday meeting, we will be, once we approve the goals and objectives, then we'll be fleshing out the activities to meet those goals and objectives. So, okay, well, I think what I'd like to do before we move forward is just take a vote on the vision statement from the group. So, do I hear a motion to approve the vision statement?
So moved.
Thanks, Ram. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Linda? Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay. Next up was the vision statement. The vision statement that, mission, I'm sorry. The mission statement that the group recommends is to reduce injuries to Texans through advocacy and dissemination of evidence-informed strategies. Discussion from the committee members?
So Shelley is way hip on the correct verbiage with the CDC and all that she does throughout our state and in the Dallas area. And the first thing out of my mouth was, well, we need to say something in there about evidence-based. So the new terminology is called dissemination of evidence-informed strategies, which really sounds so nice. I liked it.
I like it too because it makes clear that that's really the purpose of our committee. You know, it's not necessarily the mission statement for injury prevention across Texas as a whole, but it defines what our committee is supposed to be doing. So I like that.
And there was a lot of discussion about what is the role of the committee, how much can the committee take on, what is, when are we overstepping our bounds and things like that, and that's pretty much why the work group decided on this mission statement. Are there comments from the audience?
She likes it.
I'm going to take that as a yes, Paloma.
Shelley, I was just gonna say, I think that mission statement, I like it, and I think it's a lot less intimidating than evidence-based, blah, blah, blah. As a TTCF injury prevention chair, I like that mission statement a lot. So, just as my two
Okay? Well, then let's take a vote on the mission statement. Do I hear a motion approving the mission statement suggested by the work group? Paula? Second?
Second.
Kara? Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Next slide, Kara. Okay, so the other thing that the group talked about was we didn't want to, we utilized several documents in looking at suggested goals and objectives. One of the documents that we referenced was the Safe States Alliance State Technical Assessment Team Report, which if anyone has read it, is pretty comprehensive and includes a lot of language and a lot of recommendations for the State Health Department. I was a little overwhelmed by it. What we didn't want to do was take on, since this is only going to be a 3-year plan, what we didn't want to do is take on a bunch of objectives that we didn't feel were we could accomplish. So we came up with, and I don't remember the exact number. I think it was about 6 or 7. And these are in, and why don't you go ahead and scroll through all of them, Kara. I've indented, at the time that we were discussing this, we were just throwing out ideas about, and really not differentiating between what would be a goal, what would be objectives, and things like that. In taking a second look at it, I, at Juliet's suggestion, decided that maybe some of the things were natural goals, some of them were natural objectives, and just for the sake of wordsmithing and things like that, a goal is more of a kind of a more overarching thing, as opposed to an objective is something that you can do to accomplish that goal. So just at taking a first stab, and this is where we really do need some more discussion, these were the things that the group came up with for suggestions. The 2 things that you see indented with the blue bullets were things that I thought might lend themselves more to objectives as opposed to goals. But in saying that, there are if the things with the gold bullet points stay as goals, then we will need to develop some objectives to meet those goals. So I want to give the committee members, I have had a chance to look at it a little bit, but I want to give the audience an opportunity to kind of look at them, digest, and make any comments, as well as the committee members, if you have suggestions, remarks. Bless you.
I'll say I also think this is a really great start. It was actually kind of amazing. I've been on other committees and in other rooms where we've tried to develop goals and objectives, and it's taken all day, and this took us about an hour, so it was pretty impressive. I think this group has a really good sense of what they'd like to do and where they're going in the direction, so that's why it went so well and was pretty painless. Like Shelley said, there's more work to be done. Of course, this is just a really high-level outline, and each of these would need to be fleshed out further, and I'm sure as we do that, there will be strategic partnerships that will come up in the planning process to get these things done, because we can't do it ourselves.
Absolutely.
Perhaps there
Rand?
might be something to the effect of challenging the programs already in place to be more educational. I mean, TxDOT has a lot of injury prevention programs and Safe Kid coalitions and a lot of programs like that, and maybe we can just challenge them to be more educational, more known. They're known, but they need to be more out there.
Are you suggesting, just so that I'm clear, are you suggesting that 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 we don't know everything that's taking place, and so we're trying to get a handle on what injury prevention programs are out there, and then promoting those injury prevention programs. Or did I misunderstand? Or
Also that.
okay.
I think that's been the goal of TTCF, TTAC, and GETAC, the whole three-prong. I mean, I think that's our goal, is to develop these programs to make them evidence-informed, to make them legislatively sound, and to make them user-friendly. So I think by saying providing more education, well, that's the goal of the three-prong goal. I mean, that's what we're actively doing.
I guess what I'm trying to say is the programs that are already in there that are some evidence-based, I think should be more promoted.
Right.
I think we're probably capturing some of that, and my apologies to the committee and to the audience for being late.
We're glad to have you here, Jen.
My 8:30 went over, so I was trying to get here as quickly as I could. But I think maybe some of the concerns that you're bringing forward would be addressed from the perspective of the fact that it says here as the objective, serve as a knowledge broker and clearinghouse for evidence-informed injury and violence prevention strategies and related information. Just by virtue of having that as one of our goals or objectives, that would almost become a strategy for us as an overarching committee, would be to make sure that the public and our trauma coordinators and our injury prevention program managers are aware of the evidence-informed strategy, so that that's kind of like their hit list and the top priority of things to roll out in their communities. So I think just by being able to lay some of these pieces out, we'll see some of that happen in a more effective fashion than it has in the past.
And one of the things that the group, because we made such progress on the goals and objectives, and typically when you're discussing goals and objectives, I think a lot of times suggestions for activities, tasks come out, and so the group actually started that discussion. I just didn't include it in the minutes. It's in our notes. So I think we have a good start on suggested activities as well. And one of the activities that the group talked about was a need to try and get a handle on not just the injury prevention programs that are in Texas, but things like who are the injury prevention networks? Who are the trauma coordinators? Do we have a list of that? Do we have a list of all the Safe Kids Coalition coordinators? And so that was one of the things that that we talked about. We also talked about surveying the different groups in terms of what their needs are, and we stopped short of trying to get a handle on inventorying all injury prevention programs, because I know that GETAC had tried to do that in the past, and because it's ever changing, that's just hard to manage. But we thought a good start would be just trying to connect all the people that need to be connected. So, are there comments from the audience?
First of all, Shelley, I commend you for what you're doing. I don't know if you know who I am. Mario Segura. I'm from the Rio Grande Valley, and I was the chair for injury prevention in 2000 up to 2007. We started very, very well, and thanks to some of the members that are still on board. Presented a lot of programs, did a lot of teaching and conferences, and a lot of stuff. We were the first committee to have the mission, the vision, and the goals in writing. And then sort of 6, 7 years later, we start dwindling down. Actually, I was feeling pretty sad that this injury prevention committee was sort of quieting down. With this, it just gives me